This is the spiritual discussion program. I am Saad in southeast London, and I have my colleague with me, Gregory, um, joining me as usual. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message by Uprushin. I want to ask you, Gregory, before we continue, how are you doing, and how's the weather where you are?
One is fine. It's been snow showers and dark, but it's okay.
Okay, and here in London, it is also dark. It's been cold, I think just maybe a few degrees above freezing, so quite chilly, uh, but fine otherwise. I think a bit of sunshine as well. So, welcome listeners to this spiritual discussion program. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message by Uprushin. And every week we have a topic for discussion. Before I say that, I should say Happy New Year. It's now, I know it's the 7th of January today, but still early in the year. So I want to wish everybody Happy New Year. So as I was saying, we have a topic for discussion every week, a new one. The topic for tonight is related to the new year, I will say. It is spiritual path forward. Spiritual path forward. And you're welcome to join us with any questions or comments. You can contact us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And there's one other way to contact us, which is by going to the website where we are broadcasting. That is blessradio1, that's the number one, .com. And if you scroll down on the home page, you'll see a box called Bless Chat. There you can type in any questions or comments. I want to begin with, what is the Grail message? The Grail message, in the light of truth, by Uprushin, is a spiritual knowledge of life. It offers an explanation of the world, a picture of creation on the basis of natural laws. Its lectures contain valuable basic elements as a help in life. For through the knowledge mediated, the readers again brought closer to life and led back to God. The Grail message deals with important fundamental questions of life by explaining in a clear and logical way the automatic working of the laws of nature, the whole weaving of creation, allowing every process to be recognized and thereby the purpose of our whole life. It is directed at the individual and speaks to the innate experiences of the human being, their strengths and weaknesses. Thus, every reader has the opportunity to discover through the intuitive perception if what is stated is the truth. Combining with matter of fact reasoning and combining with a matter of fact reasoning, a complete world picture arises, where there is no separation between the visible world and the great world beyond the five senses, nor any separation between scientific and religious striving for knowledge. I'd like to give you a couple of quotes from the author of the Grail message, Uprushin, the hearer and reader of my lectures. should always work within himself, keenly probing and building bridges from one lecture to the other, as well as out into the great and small world happenings. Only then will he be able to understand the Grail message and find that it gradually shapes itself into one complete whole without leaving any gaps. Again and again, in all the happenings, the reader will come back to the basic features. He can explain everything without having to change even one single sentence. The word of the Grail message lives, so that it permits only those people who really carry the honest desire in their souls to find abundantly. All else is automatically rejected by it. For the arrogant and those who seek superficially, the message will remain the book with seven seals. And I'd like to give you one more quote from the author. I wish to fill the gaps which have so far always remained unanswered in the souls of men, and which never leave any serious thinker in peace if he earnestly seeks for the truth. So, dear listeners, just to remind you, the topic that we are discussing tonight is spiritual path forward. Spiritual path forward. And if you would like to join in with any questions or comments, you can contact us on our UK number. And if you're in UK, this is the UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And there's one other way for you to contact us, which is by going to the website where we are broadcasting, that is blessradio1, that's the number one, .com. And if you scroll down on the homepage, you'll see a box called Bless Chat. There you can type in any questions or comments. Gregory, you know, I always like to look up the meaning of the words in our topic in the dictionary. So the topic again is spiritual path forward. So the first word there is spiritual. And in the dictionary, I found two meanings given there. The first one, it says relating to or affecting the human spirit or soul, as opposed to material or physical things. And they give an example for that actually. He said, I'm responsible for his spiritual welfare. Let me just repeat that one. So the meaning of spiritual in the dictionary, it says relating to or affecting the human spirit or soul, as opposed to material or physical things. What do you say about this definition, Gregory?
First, thanks for for the forum and the questions. The purpose of this discussion basically is to introduce one to the walk in the light of truth, which is the Grail message. And the framework of the light of truth is what we intend to introduce to many a person. Therefore, the endeavor here is to examine everything, whether from the dictionary, from wherever it comes from, in accordance to this framework. So it is nothing personal. What I say or what I do not say is immaterial or is of no consequence if it does not as such deal with the framework, which framework is that of motion and the laws of motion, the motion of material things or non-material things, whatever one cares to call it. Well, that is only a preamble. In the preamble, one just mentioned material and non-material or non-material. Of course, that which is of spirit, which is also subject to motion, is not of material. Therefore, it is beyond that which is material. And at the same time, it is subject to its homogeneous types, which is spirit. Many of the questions that arise that many people ask, what is spirit? Before you start talking being spiritual. And very basically, energy is spirit. But the spirit or spirituality which needs to be discussed is that energy or that spark, whatever one cares to call it, which is capable of awareness. That spark, that energy bundle, which is capable of awareness, is what is referred to here as spirit or spirituality. Again, this must be examined in the context of material and non-material.
Thank you for that, Gregory. I just want to clarify one more thing, what you've been saying there. This spirituality, is it related to human being? Because that's what the dictionary meaning is saying, relating to the human spirit or soul. So, because let's say there's animals, and they're also having, well, maybe they have a spirit or soul as well. So, can we just clarify what what we are pointing to in our discussion here?
Again, that spirituality which we are referring to has to do with that which is capable of self awareness. And tied to it are the innate capabilities. Therefore, it is more than that of the animal. The animal is aware of the surrounding, but there is a limitation. Further discussion on this, many will have to examine the work in the light of truth to fish out the facts and reassemble them. Yes, it is possible that they will be discussed here, but we only touch on some key things. The spirituality which we are talking about here has to do with that energy bundle which is capable of self-awareness, which is higher than that of the animal, which animal is aware of the environment, but has not got the capabilities which spirituality has.
Thanks for that clarification. We will continue in our discussion and go deeper into these concepts. So thank you for that. Now, I was saying, Greg, there's a second meaning also in the dictionary for the word spiritual, and I would like to go in there now. So that one, it says, this is the meaning of the word spiritual now. Another meaning, it says relating to religion or religious belief. So, Gregory, what about this meaning?
It is true that many a thing that refers to the innate capability of the human personality, the recognition of which there had been an assemblage where people now gather together in their recognition of the workings in nature and of the structure about the workings in nature and of the beings that are responsible for the maintenance of the workings in nature, that there are many a person who have come to the awareness of these workings and have extrapolated further. In that case, you now have many coming together to share experiences. At the same time, there has not been exact clarification, but in their level of maturity, hung to the lack of clarification and even made rules out of them. Therein lies dogma. And that was how gradually that's in which people came together in their quiet recognition. They now made it formal and it became more of a religion where people expressed their recognitions, but they were not tied to any laws. Which laws should govern their inner sensibilities, their inner recognitions, and their outer recognitions. For when one examines religions very carefully, it refers to many a thing in which there seem not to be any laws as such, and things could be done in an arbitrary manner. So spirituality is not religion, but religion may lead. What religion has been recognitions which point to a structure, but the clarification of the structure is still not there. In all simplicity, when you are putting up a building, you have scaffolding. Once there's clarity, once the structure of the building have been well established with the workings, then you take out the scaffolding. Religion had started or serves that purpose of a scaffolding, which scaffolding need not be there once there's clarification about the laws of nature, of creation, which laws state how things operate, which laws have to deal with every activity, which must be applied to every activity, and also the source from which the power that streams through nature, through creation, the knowledge about this power and how it's maintained, that will be the final structure that needs to be put together in our personal recognition. So you find religion most of the time has been more or less a pointer of a way forward. However, it is not in itself the structure, but pointing to a structure based on recognitions.
Thanks a lot, Gregory, for this answer, and how can I say, looking at these definitions you're getting from the dictionary, and expanding on them, so that we get a better picture. What is religion? What is spirituality? What I can get from what you're saying, that there's a journey of level of recognition in our human development, you can say. And as you mentioned, some people had that gift of recognizing the laws in nature or the framework that is working in nature, and then they share it with the people around, which people have adopted, and that is, you could say, become the rules or regulations or beliefs, which has turned into religion. And but the real thing is recognition. That's the real goal. That is what every human being should be looking for. And each of these religions or beliefs are giving this levels of recognition. And as we go further, we will see what this journey is about, you know. You mentioned earlier, in fact, right at the beginning, that what is spirituality or what is spirit is a consciousness of, or not consciousness itself as such, but it's some, well, I know you didn't put, especially we humans, but you pointed out spirits. So the spirits who are have this capacity of becoming conscious or self-conscious even. And so you can say, which is getting awareness, you know. So it's like we start with not much, you can say. Let's even use the word unconscious. We started as unconscious, and that which is unconscious, it wants to become conscious, and that is a process. So I won't say too much right now, but it gives a little bit of framework and background to this topic that we are going to discuss further. So I want to move on now to the third word in the topic tonight, which is forward. So the topic is spiritual path forward. So we're saying forward. So what does the dictionary say about forward? Let me see. It says, I've jumped there. I've jumped something. I forgot to say the second word, which is path. So let me go to that first. So the word path. I've got three meanings in there in the dictionary. So that word path, it's the first one. It says a way or track laid down for walking or made by continual treading. Greg, I have to say there are three meanings. So this is only the first one. So it says, first meaning, a way or track laid down for walking or made by continual treading. What can you say about this one?
Again, it's a picture which is a pointer to mundane things.
Right.
That which is many may recognize using the capabilities of the five senses on the earthly side.
Right.
So that is it. Talking of a track and all that, but
yeah.
The paths, there are also paths in other which is not meant for walking. So
yes.
So
that's why I'm going to go to the other meaning now, the second one. It says the course or direction in which a person or thing is moving. So that's is that a better one, or?
That's a much better one, because the key word there is direction.
Yes. Right. Okay. And then the third one, it is a course of action or way of achieving a specified result. And
that is more like an adverb or adjective qualifying, which is also helpful.
Okay. So yes, I agree. They're all adding up together. They give a better picture. So let me continue. The third word in our topic, which is the topic again, is spiritual path forward. So the word is forward, and in dictionary I've got two meanings. The first one, in the direction that one is facing or traveling towards the front. What do you say on this one, Gregory?
Yes, the key word there is direction. In front, not behind.
Okay. And the second meaning, it is onward so as to make progress.
Again, progress is also helpful, because one may make progress retroactively or can even move backwards. That's a change,
Mm.
which is a change from the initial and from the initial state. So a change of state for the better, which leads to greater recognition, one may say forward.
Thank you for that. Now, now, we've mentioned religion and spirituality, and in my research, I was trying to find differences between them, and I found a few, let's say, other people have given their own sort of understanding of it. Um, and I thought we could just look through what people have said. So, and okay, so one, I must admit I have not got the references here, so I apologize for that, but it is from the internet I found. So this is comparing religion with spirituality. So, and they've looked at different, let's say, aspects of it. So this particular one, it says religion, it says worships God. Spirituality encourages oneness with God. So, anything to say about this, Gregory? I've got a few of these type points I can say.
One has to be careful in the way it has been presented, saying religion talks about the worship of the Almighty. There are many religious, those who call themselves pagans, or those who, in quotes, worship what they found in nature. So that expression is not very correct. That is on the one hand. Secondly, the expression worship, what picture do we hold with that? What picture arises before us? The formal way in which we do things, which are done out of fear, not out of veneration for the opportunities provided. So you will find that these expressions are put across, but the grasping of it, unless it is done using one's intuition, becomes very narrow and cramped, and therefore conveys a very wrong picture to a listener or to an observer. So one really cannot say, oh, because there's a religion, therefore that religion worships the Almighty. And the word worship itself is badly understood. So such does not carry the import which should be applied with respect to creation, with respect to nature, because the rules or the laws which operate in all the manifestations in nature, in creation, the rules or laws which manifest in all the motions in creation, in nature, these have not been examined thoroughly. Therefore, such statements have to be taken with a pinch of salt.
Thanks a lot, Gregory, for making that point or making those points, because really, I only gave you one example of that differences, and there are more of these statements, which, if we go each line of them, we will find exactly as you've just pointed to, that you cannot just, how can I say, generalize, or this, worship, religion is worshiping God, and spirituality is encouraging oneness with God, as if one excludes the other. That is not, in fact, religion is just a practice, and spirituality is like another level of, you can call it practicing our, I'm going to say, our ability as a spiritual beings. I know we haven't pointed directly that we human beings are spiritual beings, but if we take that there's a level we started our journey, which was, let's say, of little consciousness, and then as we, in time, we developed and it grew more consciousness. And each time we grow our consciousness or develop further our consciousness, the same thing that we looked at before will now be deeper understanding than before, and it doesn't negate the earlier one, it's just now deeper. So it doesn't say you stop worshiping God if you, before you used to worship God and now suddenly you, oh, I'm in one with God. It doesn't mean I have stopped worshiping God. So this is just a deeper, I say just, the deeper understanding doesn't negate the previous understanding. So yes, so thank you for making that clear, even though we only looked at one point. But there's many such points, and each of them I think will come with a similar response in understanding what is religion, what is spirituality. And before I do a little bit discuss further that, I just want to let the listeners know that you're listening to Bless Radio, and this is the Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message, by Uprushing. If you wish to know more about the Grail message or want to get a copy of the Grail message for yourself, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that. www.grail, Grail, message, MESSAGE.com. And the topic that we're discussing tonight is spiritual path forward. Spiritual path forward. If you have any questions or comments, you can contact us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And there's one other way to contact us, which is by going to the website where we are broadcasting, that is blessradio1, that's the number 1.com. If you scroll down on the home page, you'll see a box called Bless Chat. There you can type in any questions or comments. And as I said, we are broadcasting on blessradio1, the number 1.com. You can also listen to us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, that's the number 1 again, space live stream. That is for our live show, which is on Tuesday evenings, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. You can also listen to a recording of this show the next day, again on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, that's the number 1 again, space Grail message, space the topic of the show, which tonight is spiritual path forward. And of course, you can listen to our the recording of our previous shows as well on YouTube. Thirdly, we are broadcasting on, and let me just make sure I get it right. So that is, excuse me a second. Yeah, it is Zeno. So that's ZENO dot FM / Bless Radio 1. That's the number one. So that's Zeno, ZENO dot FM / Bless Radio 1. That's the number one there. Now, Gregory, I just wanted to continue this comparison or analysis, whatever the right word is, of religion versus spirituality with the word. Some people have been making their own statements, and it's just good for us to make things. I know we made a general point, but I just like to examine what people are saying and see, what it makes, what we can make of it. So this is again religion. This is a quote for religion. God is outside of you. And then spirituality, they're saying God is within you. So, Gregory, that sounds a bit contradictory. Can it make sense at all?
Again, thanks for this question, because they need clarification with what had been referred to. The first one, it says the Almighty is outside of you.
Outside of you. And the second one is God is within you.
The second one is it's within you.
Yes, which is the spiritual meaning. And the religion, when the first one is religion meaning.
Well, one can make it very clear by saying that how does that swing with the laws of nature, of creation? Again, one must ask, how do they picture the power or the source of the power that streams through all that exists? If at all they have a picture of it. Therefore, should one even dare to comment on these type of assertions which many make, one must use a framework. It is that framework that has been lacking in all examinations, and because it is lacking, the concepts which we then hold deep within ourselves block the paths, because we are taking things in an arbitrary manner. The first one we say is it is within you. The source of all power, that source that grants the power definitely cannot be within the individual, because the individual only came later. Therefore, one must stress that source has always been there, even before the individual came into existence. And because these are different species, they are so different, you cannot say now the source is within you. The power that streams would have shattered that which is now referred to as a human personality. Therefore, that statement that's within you is completely out of the question. The second, we say it is outside of you. Again, what picture do we hold? What concept do we hold? That, again, gives us a perspective. The perspective that, okay, there is something which is outside. But what is that something? How do we picture it if it's possible to have a picture? The best which we hold is that there we are able to recognize, or we are able to be aware that power streams through all that exists and comes from a direction which is far, far above, but the nature of which we do not have even the slightest concept. All that we are aware of is that power streams. So from both parts, it is cramped. It doesn't present to us a firm structure which the personality must hold. Hence, the need to examine this work which has been put forward. This work which talks about, or which reveals what the light is and what the truth is. Only through such rigorous examination can a person, in observing not only himself but his neighbor, but also his observations and interactions in nature, and that which is above nature, in which human personalities in spirit are concerned, and above all, above even creation, if it is possible. Only then can we come to an inkling of what these statements mean. And with that clarification, only then can we have structures which are long lasting. Long lasting because there will be no need to make changes, all right, in an arbitrary manner, but there will be an improved way of perceiving it, because the human personality, starting from a state, keeps, because of its experiences, improving on its initial state and keeps rising higher and higher. Only then will the picture expand and keep expanding for all eternity, because it doesn't stop.
Thanks for that explanation there, Gregory. Um, I'm going to continue with these statements, really comparing religion with spirituality. So the next one I've got there for religion, it says separates people who have different beliefs, and while spirituality unites people regardless of their beliefs. So I'll repeat that. Religion separates people who have different beliefs. Spirituality unites people regardless of their beliefs.
To a large extent, there are as many religions as there are human personalities, because people perceive things in different ways, and or people believe things. If religion is tied to beliefs, then as many as there are human personalities, there are different beliefs, and each one will want to protect their corner. However, if one speaks of spirituality, in which each participant in the discussion knows that their inner state is of spirit, then immediately they pull together, and realizing that each one has different capabilities, becomes one for all and all for one. That shows the unity. So to a large extent, yes. But the picture which many a times are presented is cramped.
Thanks for that answer there, Gregory. I mean, we know because there are many religions. You said there are many religions as there are people. So each one can, even if they follow a particular religion, they still have their own belief. Because nobody, not well, not a, I say nobody, but people may still have their own understanding of their belief, which would be an individual understanding. Because we are not robots, we don't copy each other. Um, we still have our own individual thinking. So that makes sense. That you know. Um, However, Gregory, there's something in my mind that says if there's a truth, it should be one truth, not like different truths. So when you have these different religions, they should not be like disagreeing with each other, even if let's say we talked earlier just now about there's a God or a power, a source, and whatever word we want to use, uh, but there should be the same uh, answer for this. And then with these different religions, some of them they talk about these many beings or little gods, as we put them with a little god, and others focus on the main one God. And so there's this issue. Then there's other differences like reincarnation. Some of them talk about reincarnation, and others, well, don't mention it, or they maybe deny it even. So then you have these conflicting, uh, I don't know what word to use, conflicting, points, and then you don't know which one to follow anymore. If you're looking independently, uh, you know, from not because you belong to one belief, you decide to examine, as we say, examine it, and you find these differences, and then you a bit lost, which one to go for, or can you accept, how do you deal with these differences? So, Gregory, how can we handle this type of situation? Because we know, especially in the world today with communication, is internet and so on. Even if you're born in one particular country or live in long time in one country, you're still exposed with the communication to all these other, you could say, teachings, or some awareness is there. So, one would wonder, Gregory, how do you decide which is right and which is wrong?
So there's noise in the background.
Okay, I'm going to go on mute. Did you hear my question there, Gregory?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Now it's a bit low. Like you rightly mentioned, there are so many belief systems. There are statements which are incredible. The question then, what is the truth? The real question would be, what would be the features of the truth when things are always changing, just like human beings? What many a person reveals is his or her own particular perspective. And in that case, you will find they can only share that which they have come to recognize at best. If they haven't recognized something higher, even when they listen to other people's perspective, if they cannot find any commonality, then they will hold on to that which they now know. In that case, there is no communication of their recognition. What is key here is that for one personality to another personality, there must be a commonality in language. Which language must be that which is universal. By language, one is referring to that which the human personality is subjected to, in which it is forced to recognize. Simple example will be that people may be speaking different tongues, but they know in order to exist here on earth, the need is there to support the structure which their mothers have provided. That means there will be an exchange. That means they have to eat. There must be waste elimination. This is universal to people on earth. So that language which the human personality receives on earth, in which it has to adjust to, it's very clear. It is not, say, the tongue which is spoken by the Japanese or by the Germans or by the English. That is a commonality. Then one must ask, what is the truth? In the first case, that which one just mentioned are susceptible to the five senses, which one is endowed. These five senses, which one uses, which everybody uses, that cannot be denied. Therefore, it is these five senses that are the tools which we use, which initially leads from cognition, that means the objects which are perceptible through these five senses in the physical. When in making use of these five senses on that which one has interacted with through the five senses, the possibilities there is to come to a final perspective. Every human personality is capable of that. That level is recognition. Recognition of that things which are external to it. Recognition of those things which are internal to it. That is one level. Because these things which we've just mentioned, these things are in the neighborhood. They are external. There is the second type, which is internal, in which the human personality, the inner capabilities, the features which the human spirit cultivates, that is another level that leads to a more spiritual recognition. It is that which is also universal. The cultivation of it is made possible, which cultivation had been made possible through the will which is woven in nature, woven in creation, and unless the personality strives to ensure he or she becomes conscious, which is aware, and subsequently becomes self-conscious, which means those innate ability which lies within it are developing to help in the recognition of that which lies behind what it has perceived. These are common to all human spirits. In fact, that is the task of the human spirit. Simple example would be, most of the time we all go to school to learn or to perfect the language we speak. It could be the language of music, which is quite simple. And someone who learns to play the violin or who learns to sing, all right, comes together with people who try to learn to sing and perfects it by repeating and making variations. Subsequently, when that person has mastered it, others who are watching wish to copy from that person, either formally in going to class or informally by observing what that individual is doing and try, like a cat, to repeat what that person has done until he or she comes to a level of maturity where it can have variations, but at the same time knows the boundaries of the variation he or she needs to make. That is what language is all about. That is what nature is all about. That is what creation is all about. And therefore, you will find that as long as there is the inner development of the human spirit, as long as that inner development is kept apace with the demands of creation, of nature, then the human personality moves forward using the channel which has been presented to it through nature, through creation.
Thanks a lot, Gregory, for this answer. What I'm getting now is that, there's a level of recognition. This is a journey of a level of recognition, and the different religions or teachings, they give a particular level of recognition, but it's not meant to be standing still at this one place, that's the level that you've achieved something. It's only, let's say, level 1 or 2, and then you must continue to develop. The sorry, excuse me, the consciousness. It is growing and developing. Our awareness of things is growing. So that's the path we've talked about. The topic tonight is spiritual path forward. So each religion or teaching is a path forward. You don't stop. Oh, that is the end of the journey, because you know this one. No, our life continues, experiencing continues, growing. We keep growing, we keep developing, and not to dwell on it too much right now. But one Earth life is not the complete life. our Earth life. One Earth life is not a representation of one whole life of a human being. So there's reincarnation and so on. So the experiences continue, and of course it means if that is really happening, then you could be born in one place now, let's say your first life, and then another place completely different, another life, which will be a different experiencing there of whatever religion or whatever happens to be there. So in all that is stored within us, in our spirit. So this is if we are aware that we haven't lost these experiences of the past in our journey, just we don't remember that in the physically, but actually in the spirit it is there. So this is quite something to take in. But yes, so it's just truly coming to this awareness of what exactly we are as human being, and what is this spiritual path that we are meant to be on. And we say forward, spiritual path forward. So there could be quite a few steps that we would have taken. How much do we know how many lives we've lived already? So if that is really the case, and when you read the Grail message, you get to know that there's nobody on this earth who has been here first time now, who's alive right now. No, you have had at least a few lives by now. The exact number doesn't matter too much, but what matters is that we've had a lot of experiences. So we're going to keep going and discuss things further in a moment. I just want to let you know you're listening to Bless Radio, and this is the Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message by Uprushin. If you wish to know more about the Grail message or want to get a copy of the Grail message for yourself, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that. www.grail, Grail, message, MESSAGE.com. And the topic that we are discussing tonight is spiritual path forward. Spiritual path forward. If you have any questions or comments, you can contact us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And there's one other way to contact us, which is by going to the website where we are broadcasting. That is Bless Radio 1. That's the number 1. .com. And if you scroll down on the homepage, you will see a box called Bless Chat. There you can type in any questions or comments. And as I've already said, we are broadcasting on Bless Radio 1, the number 1.com. We are also broadcasting on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, the number 1 again, space live stream. That is for our live show, which we broadcast on Tuesdays, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. You can also listen to a recording of this show tomorrow, again on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, the number 1, space Grail message, space the topic of the show, which tonight is spiritual path forward. And of course, you can listen to the recording of our previous shows again on YouTube. Thirdly, we're broadcasting on Zeno, that's ZENO dot FM / Bless Radio 1. That's the number one again. Now, Gregory, we are this spiritual path forward they are talking about. We've talked about sort of the religions, um, their beliefs, and practices, that prayer, whatever the practices people have in them. And the idea is to move forward. And then I'm thinking, okay, what's the goal? We are growing with our experiences. Let's say learning to live with fellow human beings on this earth. And then we've just mentioned there's reincarnation. So you continue to grow. You don't have just one earth life that you just think you've done everything in one earth life. No, you continue. So you're growing there. And of course, if there's reincarnation, you could be born, let's say, in one country in your first life, somewhere else in another life, another one in the third life, and so on. So you're going to have or you could be coming back, of course, in your, let's say, earlier to a country in your previous life. Of course, you can do that because it's not like a fixed thing, but it is just a continuous experiencing. And so, Gregory, you start to wonder, okay, are we going to continuously reincarnate on this earth? What is the point of this life's purpose? Can you please give us more, a bigger picture on this, explanation about this?
As a matter of fact, the expression reincarnation is consistent with the laws of creation, in the sense that the particular law in creation of reciprocal activity, that is of sowing and reaping, and that law which also expresses the attraction of homogeneity or species. The goal of the human personality started like that of a child, in which the child has to grow. So one can see a pointer forward. And when the child keeps growing, not only in physical body, but in maturity, in spirit. And as that process continues, the need is there to revisit a particular domain, a particular area, which is conducive to the next step of maturity. In that case, when the human personality comes back, it will take a step further than what it had before. The question which many really haven't examined, once a human personality leaves the earth, that means the physical body dies, is no more active. The inner core, which is referred to as the spirit, with the clothing is wearing, in that state is looked at as the soul, is at a particular state of maturity in accordance with the laws through which it even came into existence. Therefore, it sits at a particular point in accordance to the laws of gravitation or spiritual gravitation. Once it has improved in its recognition, in its self-awareness, it rises higher towards its origin. So it is not expected it will go to a lower state, but it goes to a higher state. And in a step-by-step manner, it will keep coming until it has learned the necessary lessons that it needs to use, not only here on earth, but hereafter, whatever realm it now finds itself due to its innate maturity. So it doesn't mean that one has incarnated or has reincarnated. These things are arbitrary. Such arbitrariness, which many a human personality have in their thoughts, do not occur within the perfect, complete scheme, within the perfect activities in creation, which activities the origin for the movement, for the motion, that in itself is a representative or is a manifestation of the will of Him that permitted creation to come into existence. Therefore, when the human personality in its maturity keeps improving itself and gets to a state, say a penultimate state, before it enters its origin as a self-conscious personality, it is permitted to look back, to weigh and examine all the experiences in the different incarnations, not only here on earth in the world of matter, but in the different parts in the world of matter where it has incarnated to experience the different activities in the different parts in the world of matter. Only then, when is able to make use of these experiences aright, only then in humility, which is simplicity, is it able to enter its home as a welcomed human personality that has gone out to experience, which experience now has brought it back home, similar to what has been given in the case in the biblical writings of the prodigal son, having come back home. As long as it's able to develop those innate features which had been sown in it through the will of the Almighty, in accordance with the will of the Almighty, then it retains its maturity and the structure of a matured human personality. For at the beginning, it was a spirit seed grain, but having matured in accordance with this will, it has returned as a self-conscious human personality with the structures that go with it, then it's able to weave with others in the support of those who are, for the first time, going out to experience, such that they themselves will go through this experience to become self-conscious. Again and again, one could see the way creation works. One for all and all for one.
Thanks very much, Gregory, for this answer and explanation. I've received a question from a listener. I think you may have already answered partly their question, but I still want to put it to you. So because the question came while you were talking. So let me just go there. The question is, how can one stay on the spiritual path at all times? If you find the path to the light in, oh, I've got a listener calling at the same time as let me just check what this listener wants to say, because there's a listener calling me. Hello, listener. Hello. Yes, you're live on the radio. Do you want to say something to to ask a question or something?
Yes, but at least I'm trying to link up with the...
Oh, you want to cut? Okay, but I'm doing the show now, so I cannot talk on the phone. Okay. Yeah. Please, I will talk to you indirectly. I cannot talk. I'm live on the radio now. Okay. So I cannot talk like that. I was doing something on the show right now, so I cannot talk right now. I'm sorry. Okay. You wait one moment, please. Thank you. Sorry, Gregory. I thought that was a listener. He wants to listen to the show, so I apologize that one. I'll take care of that one in a minute. So sorry. The question that the listeners asked, Gregory, let me repeat that. How can one stay on the spiritual path at all times? If you find the path to the light in one earth life and reincarnate in another life, are you naturally drawn again to the light of truth and then continue on the same spiritual path? Let me repeat that, Gregory, just because these are long questions, so I just want to repeat it. How can one stay on the spiritual path at all times? If you find the path to the light in one earth life and reincarnate in another life, are you naturally drawn again to the light of truth and then continue on the same spiritual path?
Thanks for that particular question. Again, expressions were used which are very pertinent. One, in that question, it has been stated, one had come to the path of the light. If, strictly speaking, the human spirit has recognized a right through one's intuition in one earth life and stays on that path for continuous improvement again and again, then in accordance with the laws of creation, a path is woven forward for the human personality in accordance with its maturity. Should it need to come back to the earth, it must be that it needs to learn something further. The wisdom in nature, in creation, is such that the weavings will protect the human personality such that that which it needs to experience to enable it to move to a higher recognition, that particular path forward is well woven and the resources granted to it. So it is not that things are done in an arbitrary way. No, 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 no. That has never been. Many a time, if one striving touches the inner core of the personality through one's intuitions, such intuitive perceptions form a firm structure, which firm structure acts like a sucking effect to draw you up higher and higher. Should you need to come back, it is these same laws of creation that granted you the grace and the opportunity that also weaves the path because you need something further. Sometimes the paths which the human personality need to take to attain to a particular maturity may not be pleasant to it in its physical body. There are some who wishes to help their fellow human travelers in this journey. However, they can find that there is something which is holding many people back. And they really cannot put a hand on it. In their eagerness to be of help and support, they ask in all humility for the opportunity to understand so as to be able to help. Such is a request. The permission or the opportunity and the grace are then granted. And there are some who we have to incarnate amongst a people who to a large extent are depraved in their earthly thinking, in their activities. And only in taking these experiences of the depravity of those in that community, only through experiencing of these depravities within itself, will it come to an understanding or maybe a recognition, not really an understanding. There are some who have incarnated who took such upon themselves. One of them is Christ himself. So you will find there are some others who have had to go through such an examination of the work in the light of truth will reveal all these things to you. Therefore, not all those who have had to suffer have done that which is ignoble, but some have made it a path for themselves such that they will experience that subsequently, through their experience, they are able to provide guidance for those who have sunk to be able to find a path forward to rise up. Only love permits such.
Thanks, Gregory, for this answer, and I hope the listener that was helpful for you, in clarifying your the question you've asked about your journey, your spiritual journey, ongoing spiritual journey from one life to the next earth life. There's always, how can I say, connection between, your future, your past, and today. They are connected. They're linked. What you do from the past is bringing you to your current, where you stand currently, and then what you're doing currently is going to put you where the future is going to be. So there should be no fear that, oh, I knew something today, and then by the next life it will be gone. It's just how it is. You could say your maturity, your experiencing. How is it contained within you? It's contained in your spirit, not in the body, as people might be suspecting, because you'll have a new body when you reincarnate. It'll be a new body. It's not the same body. So what is it that is reincarnating? Is the spirit, the same spirit that you had in your previous life. It's the same one. So that's what continues, not the body. So yes, every time you have a fresh brain, you're not going to remember your previous life. So people will be wondering, how can I know what I did in my previous life? It makes sense. This question is a logical question. Do you remember what you did in your previous life? No, 99.9% have no idea at all. And it's actually a good thing, because if you knew what you knew to do in a previous life, you might be very scared to live in this life, to do anything, because you might have been, let's say, something terrible that happened, and you wouldn't face the experiences that are going to come in this life. There's a continuation, like I say, there's a continuation, but there must be a reason. People must be wondering, oh, well, how come I don't know what I did in my previous life? We don't even know we had a previous life. There must be a question like that. So why should it be this way? So the answer for that is, you're meant to live in the present, not in the past. Yes, we all have had a past. You can't change the past anyway. What you did, you did. And now you're going to pay the consequence of whatever you did. So if you're getting scared about what you did in the past, you won't live properly. So they always must face the present, and that will make our future as well. So, that's, how can I say, there's so many aspects, Gregory, isn't it, about life that one must be wondering. Once you understand this, the context of the world and the framework that we live in, this creation, this spiritual journey that we are on, from developing as an unconscious spiritual being, or seed, or germ, whatever word we use, and turning into a mature, let's say, adult human spirit, fully conscious. It's a long journey, and the earth lives are part of that journey. So that's Gregory, we can have fear, or you can have hope, and you can have fear, because you don't know what is it's unknown. The future is unknown. And so how do we handle it, Gregory? This type of not knowing what, this, because we talk about consciousness and awareness. We have something, of course, we are conscious of our life now. We're not aware of our previous life, let's say most of us. We just can say we have an idea. Through the Grail message or through some other teaching, you might have an idea that there is something called reincarnation, and there's something that is, you keep, your life story, and then you think about, the future, what will happen next. So Gregory, how can we have, like, how can I say, I don't know if you say avoid fear, or how can we have confidence and hope for our future? Because one thing, Gregory, we've been talking, we say spiritual path forward, but you can also go backward. I'm sorry, I'm going here and there right now, but I'm thinking, there can be a fear of the future because you don't know what is to happen in the future. And it could be that we have done so many bad things in the past that that is going to hit us. As we know, there is a law of reciprocal action. What you have sown, you must reap. And maybe in the future we're going to reap something. We may have done some very terrible things, and we may have to reap that. So how do we handle this sort of things, Gregory, without knowing? We don't really know what we have done.
Very simply, you live in the present. In your life in the present, all of your intuitions, all of your thoughts, all of your deeds, perceptible through the five senses, all this must be focused to live in the present in accordance with the will of the Almighty, such that it is one for all and all for one. That persistence, one must harbor a good volition. One must be ready to serve. Because you do not know what has happened in the past, which has been kept away, in quotes, or partially covered because you are in your physical body. It is best for the individual to set his or her goal on a luminous, on a high goal of service, not only to itself, but also for others. That is why the expression one for all and all for one is stressed again and again. As long as one has a firm, good volition intuitively and strives after it, as long as one is patient and perseveres in the operations, in the challenges that accost it, in striving to make meaning, not only intuitively, but also in one's thoughts, the effects of these have an impact in the purification of one's environment. That being the case, one needs have no fear. For consider carefully if the human personality now sees that it has done so many bad things in the past and can see the reciprocal activities coming, then fear will arise. If, however, is unable to see what had happened in the past, but has a firm, good volition, is patient and perseveres, and wishes to be helpful in all ways as much as possible, he or she, that personality, builds a solid wall of goodness around itself. It is that which will dissolve all those reciprocal activities. It is that which will ensure that only that which is good will keep approaching it and will uplift it. Then, in that case, it doesn't have any fear. Whereas, if it knew fully well that it has devastated communities intellectually or in his thoughts, he would say, how can I ever make good all these things? That one will weigh down. So the individual must calmly, in a step-by-step manner, confront the challenges that assail it, to learn from these challenges, to build confidence in learning from it, and then the individual may then go forward courageously. That is what the will of the Almighty demands, to go forward courageously, building in confidence, building in joy. That is why an opportunity was granted through the grace and the will of the Almighty, such that the human personality will return. Here again, we reincarnate in order to mature through either reciprocal activities or to learn lessons to be of use not only to himself but also to others, similar to what musicians do. The music which is composed is not enjoyed only by the composer, but is spread around to others who enjoy this music, and it also helps them. It inspires them such that many a thing that would have brought them down, they are able to conform and to conquer it very simply. So, strictly speaking, only joyfulness and happiness are willed from the light, not sorrow. That there is sorrow on earth, that there is sorrow in creation, that is the work of man, not of the light.
Thanks very much, Gregory, for this answer. And again, the picture you painted there, it gives us, it really inspires to know that, life is meant to be of joy, not sorrow. And this sorrow is only us human beings bringing it around. And in a way, you can see that from nature, because nature is the way. And you see, look at the flowers. You don't see ugly flowers. You only see beautiful flowers and trees and so on. Even if they're insects or animals, some of them may look a bit ugly, but they have a purpose, but the purpose is to move, give progress. We say spiritual path forward is all about progress and benefit. Everything is benefiting one creature or the other creature. As you said, Gregory, all for one and one for all, not only humans, all humans for the others, all the creatures, all the living beings. It's all one for all and one for all. All for one and one for all. This is always universal. So, yes, thank you for that. Dear listeners, I want to let you know you're listening to Bless Radio. This is the Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message by Uprushin. And if you wish to know more about the Grail message or want to get a copy of the Grail message, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that, www.grail, Grail, message, MESSAGE.com. And the topic that we're discussing tonight is spiritual path forward. Spiritual path forward. If you have any questions or comments, you can contact us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 004479 39641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And there's one other way to contact us, which is by going to the website where we are broadcasting, that is blessradio1, the number one.com. If you scroll down, you'll see a box called Bless Chat. There you can type in any questions or comments. And as I mentioned, we are broadcasting on Bless Radio 1, the number one.com. You can also listen to us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, the number one again, space live stream. That's for the live show, which is on Tuesday evenings, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. You can also listen to a recording of this show the next day again on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, that's the number one there, space Grail message, space the topic of the show, which tonight is Spiritual Path Forward. You can also listen to our previous shows again on YouTube. Thirdly, we are broadcasting on Zeno, that's ZENO.FM/Bless Radio 1. That's the number one. Now, Gregory, we've been talking about spiritual path forward, and I was wondering, what about spiritual path backward, which sounds maybe weird, but because it's a possibility. So I thought we should just make sure we can be aware of what does it mean. So we're supposed to grow, develop, mature, become conscious. And I'm wondering, Greg, and we already talk about reincarnation. So, and we can do good things and we can do bad things. So there will be consequences. We know there's a law of reciprocal action. You do an action, there has to be a reaction. So if I'm looking in a, let's say, objective way, you would say if you do good, you get the good result. If you do bad, you get the bad result. So the good means, I guess it means going forward. And if you're doing bad, you're going backwards. But in a way, what does it mean, going backwards? So, Greg, can you help us with that? Can we go forward? And can we also go backward? And what does it mean when we go backwards?
Again, thanks for these questions. Like has been stressed again and again, things are not good or bad depending on our person, how we view it. Things are good only in accordance with the laws which have been woven into creation to ensure progress. To ensure progress that will lead to spiritual maturity, that will lead to which spiritual maturity is the effect of the growth that the human personality has acquired. These spiritual maturity must be considered first and foremost from the laws of creation, not just because we have a sharp intellect, we think that leads to spiritual maturity. The more matured a human personality is, the more deep intuitive perceiving it will have. The more is able to perceive things in a broader sense. The more it tries to live one for all and all for one. Why? Because just as he himself or herself is striving to become conscious, to become self-conscious, he or she knows others are doing the same. So you can already perceive they have the same goal, but these are individuals. And therefore, in full willingness, is able to come, all the laws of creation will bring people together here or hereafter who have that similar goal. If, however, the goal of the individual is not of upbuilding, but wishes to enjoy those things that are material to the detriment of others. By others, mean to the detriment of those in the environment. It could be fellow human spirits, it could be animals, it could be the plants. If, however, you have the personality living to the detriment where it doesn't consider one for all and all for one, and only considers itself, then you find is unable to mature spiritually. Spiritual maturity is different from intellectual maturity. For with spiritual maturity, the personality reflects deeply, will always strive to ensure that its activities are for the benefit, not only for itself, but for the benefit of others. And that is why one in this forum, the case of the arts, as in the case of music, is referred to. For the composer of a piece of music does not compose it for himself or herself only, for their personal self-enjoyment, but is composed such that he himself or herself enjoys it and is shared with others. It brings joy to others. That is a very simple example of upbuilding. The human personality must ask, what does his or her current activity, how does it impact on the happiness and the joyfulness of himself and others? If it is of benefit, that means it brings joy and happiness to others who are striving towards that goal of spiritual maturity, where they become self-conscious, then is drawn up. If the activities are such that it is not that, then that is a downward direction. And before long, it will also recognize that the maturity which is talked about, the resources granted, the opportunities granted, the grace granted, is such that the realm through which it needed to acquire that maturity, that realm is the world of matter. The world of matter is not permanent, it's temporal. That means it comes into existence, it grows, it blossoms, it comes to a state of maturity, or it evolves to a state of maturity. Because it's temporal, it therefore undergoes gradual dissolution back to its primeval substances. The human personality which has been placed to mature in that particular part of the world of matter, the time granted, the resources are such that it is more than sufficient to come to an awakening and a self-awakening of those innate features sown into it. If it has been striving after that which is of benefit in accordance with the laws of creation, it matures quickly forward, upwards, so as to return to its realm as a matured human personality. If, however, has not been the case, then when the world of matter undergoes disintegration to its primeval substances, it is caught in that process. And that process is devastating to it because the structures which it has cultivated is not in accordance, will not be of benefit to creation or benefit to nature. Therefore, that which is not of benefit to creation or to nature, that structure which the human personality has cultivated is now destroyed. That means it undergoes dissolution. In that case, the spirit gem returns back to its origin, but this time not as a matured human personality, because this time it's returning back as a gem just as it started. That means the opportunities granted to it for that maturity, it has not utilized it, and therefore that journey has been in vain. That human personality, that human spirit seed grain has not developed the human structure and therefore goes back as a seed grain and awaits another opportunity for it to start all over again. That which is mentioned here takes millions and millions of years. Therefore, it is high time the human spirit wakes up. That means it has to be awake and learns about the truth, such that has been presented in this work, which describes, which develops, which exposes what the light is and what the truth is. For the personality that is willing to examine aright through rigorous activities in its intuition, in its thoughts, and in its deeds, as long as that willingness and daringness is there, to come out victorious. And that is why it has been stressed, go forward courageously. But the personality can only move forward courageously when it has weighed all that accosts it, the challenges, when it has examined these things in accordance with this will of the light. Then that which brings fear will vanish. Once fear is not there, the human personality is prepared to move forward.
Thanks very much, Gregory, for this, again, this answer and explanation and the picture you've been painting. And it's a very, how can I say, inspiring to have this knowing that one can be confident that we just move forward courageously, go forward courageously. No need to, fear or panic. Help is there. The Creator made this world, and it's a perfect system. We have to find the right path. That's what we're saying. Spiritual path forward. We have to discover it. We human beings, And what is the way to discover it? It is a gift that we have all got, which is the intuition. We need to apply that, the ability. Everybody has ability, and one of the abilities is the intuition. So this is what we must apply if we are to go forward courageously on our spiritual path. So, dear listeners, we've come to the end of the show tonight on the topic of spiritual path forward. Hope you've enjoyed the discussion. I would like to read, as usual, from the foreword of the Grail message, which is titled, For Your Guidance. The bandage falls, and belief becomes conviction. Liberation and redemption lie only in conviction. I'm addressing earnest seekers only. They must be able and willing to examine this matter objectively. Religious fanatics and irresponsible enthusiasts may hold aloof, for they are detrimental to the truth. As for the malevolent and prejudiced, they shall find their sentence in the very words. The message will strike only those who still carry within them a spark of truth and the yearning to be true human beings. To all such, it will become the shining light and staff. It will lead them unswervingly out of all the chaos of the present-day confusion. The following word does not bring a new religion, but is intended as the torch to help all serious listeners or readers find the right path, which leads them to the longed-for height. Only he who bestirs himself can advance spiritually. The fool who uses extraneous aids for this, in the form of ready-made opinions of others, only walks his path as if on crutches, while ignoring his own healthy limbs. But the moment he boldly uses all the abilities that lie dormant within him, awaiting his call, he is employing the talent entrusted to him in accordance with his Creator's will, and will easily overcome all obstacles that seek to divert him. Therefore, awake. Genuine faith lies only in conviction, and conviction comes solely through an inflexible weighing and examining. See that you're truly alive in the wonderful creation of your God. Abdrusheen. Dear listeners, if you just to remind you, if you wish to know more about the Grail message or want to get a copy of the Grail message for yourself, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that, www.grail, Grail, message, message.com. Gregory, is there anything you'd like to say to the listeners to say goodbye?
Wishing listeners a very joyful new year ahead.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you for reminding me about that. Yes, wishing everyone a beautiful, joyful, blessed New Year that is coming. And just again, another reminder to please, if you wish to know, um, you know, about spiritual journey of life, do pick up the Grail message. It will give you, you examine it with your own eyes and ears and your abilities, and you will see for yourself what is there. So I want to just say, before I say goodbye, I just want to remind you, we will be back as usual next Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time with another topic for discussion. Good night and God bless.